Captain Michael Dawson gazed out at the alien ship through the viewport, his thoughts racing with possibilities. The Denobulans inside, trembling in fear, anticipated their demise, but he had other intentions. As he prepared for the boarding party, he knew his next actions could either condemn two species or forge an unprecedented alliance. It was the year 2157, and Earth's first interstellar colony ship, the UES Horizon, had encountered a Denobulan refugee vessel fleeing their war-torn home. The ship's sensors detected life signs, yet the aliens' erratic flight pattern indicated desperation. Dawson, a decorated war veteran, felt a familiar surge of adrenaline as he braced himself to confront the unknown. As the airlock hissed open, he led his team into the alien ship. Inside was a labyrinth of unfamiliar technology, pulsing with eerie bioluminescence. In the main chamber, they discovered the Denobulans huddled together, their reptilian faces twisted in terror. Years of conflict had conditioned them to expect hostility from other species. Yet one Denobulan caught Dawson's eye. A young female with intricate patterns dancing across her scales stepped forward. Her striking blue eyes met his with a mixture of defiance and hope. This was Mira, a scientist who chose to confront the potential threat head-on. Dawson's orders were clear: secure the vessel and detain the aliens. Earth's non-interference protocols were strict, designed to safeguard humanity's interests in the vast expanse of space. However, witnessing Myra's courage and the fear etched on the faces of the other refugees stirred a familiar pang of conscience within him. In that moment, Dawson made a decision that would change the fate of both civilizations. Against the protests of his crew and the looming threat of a court-martial, he offered asylum to the Denobulans aboard the Horizon. He reasoned that their advanced biotechnology could be crucial for humanity's survival on their new world. As the Denobulans were brought aboard the Horizon, tensions flared instantly. Human colonists, already anxious about venturing to an unknown planet, found themselves sharing close quarters with an alien species. Whispers of contamination and invasion circulated through the ship's corridors. Mira struggled to adapt to human society, burdened by the trauma of her species' near extinction. She found an unexpected ally in Captain Dawson, who recognized the potential for cooperation between their peoples. As they worked to bridge the cultural divide, an unanticipated attraction began to bloom, threatening the fragile equilibrium aboard the ship. Both humans and Denobulans wrestled with the implications of interspecies relations, challenging long-standing beliefs and biases. As the Horizon approached its destination, a habitable planet dubbed New Eden, the stakes heightened. Dawson faced not only the possibility of court-martial for his actions, but also the monumental challenge of establishing peaceful coexistence between humans and Denobulans on this alien world. The fate of both species rested on the shoulders of a battle-hardened captain and a courageous alien scientist. Their choices in the days ahead would determine whether New Eden would become a battleground or the birthplace of a groundbreaking alliance. What began as a journey marked by fear and distrust now held the promise of a future neither species could have envisioned alone. As the UES Horizon neared New Eden, the initial excitement of discovering a habitable world gave way to escalating tensions. The ship's corridors, once filled with hopeful chatter about new beginnings, now echoed with hushed whispers and suspicious glances exchanged between humans and Denobulans. Security Officer Alex Mercer stood in the weapons control room, fingers poised above the console. He turned to a group of human extremists who shared his fears regarding the alien presence aboard their ship. "It's time," Mercer said, his voice low and resolute. "We can't let Dawson jeopardize everything we've worked for." With swift commands, Mercer and his followers seized control of the ship's weapon systems and communications. Alarms blared throughout the Horizon as the mutiny unfolded. Captain Michael Dawson was in his quarters, discussing terraforming possibilities with Mira when the alarm blared. He quickly accessed the ship's internal communication system, only to find it unresponsive. "What's happening?" Mira asked, her bioluminescent patterns flickering with anxiety. Before Dawson could respond, Mercer's voice crackled over the emergency speakers. "Captain Dawson, your misguided charity ends now. Surrender command, or we will space the Denobulan refugees. You have 1 hour to comply." Dawson's lips tightened as he processed the threat. He turned to Mira, who looked at him, her scales dimmed in fear. "I won't let that happen," he assured her. "We need a plan." Myra's eyes brightened as an idea formed. "Our bioluminescence," she suggested. "We can use it to create distractions throughout the ship. I know the ventilation systems. We could move unseen." Dawson nodded, a spark of hope igniting in his chest. "Gather your people. I'll assemble a team of loyal crew members. We'll coordinate our movements to outmaneuver Mercer and his followers." As Mira slipped away to rally the Denobulans, Dawson contacted his most trusted officers through secure channels. Within minutes, a daring plan was in motion. Denobulan refugees crawled through the ship's ventilation ducts, their bodies pulsing with mesmerizing light patterns. They emerged in strategic locations, creating brilliant displays that disoriented and confused the mutineers. Taking advantage of the chaos, Dawson led a small team through the maintenance corridors, swiftly disabling the mutineers' makeshift barricades and reclaiming key systems. As they neared the weapons control room, Dawson heard Mercer barking orders to his dwindling supporters. He signaled his team to take position, then stepped into view. "It's over, Mercer," Dawson called out. Mercer spun around, his face twisted with rage. "You're throwing away humanity's future," he snarled, lunging at Dawson with a makeshift weapon. In the ensuing struggle, Dawson felt a searing pain in his side. He stumbled, aware of the warm blood seeping through his uniform. Despite the injury, he managed to subdue Mercer with the help of his team. As the last of the mutineers were rounded up, Mira rushed to Dawson's side. Without hesitation, she pressed a small pulsating device against his wound. Dawson felt an odd, tingling sensation as the Denobulan biotechnology began to repair his damaged tissue. "Thank you," he murmured, marveling at the rapid healing. Mira smiled, her scales shimmering with relief. However, the crisis aboard the ship was far from over. As Dawson limped to the bridge, supported by Mira, they faced a new challenge. The horizon had entered New Eden's orbit, and the planet's harsh realities were becoming apparent. "Captain," the science officer reported, "scans show extreme temperature fluctuations and toxic atmospheric components. Human colonization will be difficult." Mira studied the data scrolling across the screens, her expression thoughtful. "Our physiology," she said slowly, "is better suited for these conditions. We could help." Dawson looked at her, intrigued. "What do you mean?" "A symbiotic relationship," Mira explained, her excitement growing. "We could use our biological adaptations to terraform the planet more efficiently. It would benefit both our species." As Dawson considered the proposal, a commotion erupted on the bridge. "Sir," called out the sensors officer, "we've detected an artificial structure on the planet's surface. It's not human or Denobulan in origin." Tension gripped the atmosphere on the bridge as the implications sank in. Myra's scales paled, her voice barely a whisper. "Could it be them? The ones who destroyed our world?" Dawson placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder, even as his mind raced with potential threats this discovery posed. He turned to address the bridge crew, acutely aware of the challenges ahead. "Prepare a detailed report on the structure," he ordered, "and assemble the colony leaders, both human and Denobulan. We need to discuss our next steps." As the crew sprang into action, Dawson pulled Mira aside. "I need to know everything you can tell me about the invasion of your home world," he said gently. "Any information could be crucial for protecting our people." "All our people down there?" Mira nodded, her eyes meeting Dawson's with a mix of trust and apprehension as she began to speak. Dawson realized that the story of New Eden was only just beginning. The fate of two species, thrown together by circumstance and choice, would be decided on the surface of this alien world. Whatever challenges awaited them, they would face them together. Captain Michael Dawson stood on the bridge of the UES horizon, his gaze fixed on the swirling atmosphere of New Eden below. The mysterious structure on the planet's surface loomed large in his mind, a silent sentinel harboring untold secrets and potential dangers. "Final preparations are complete, Captain," Lieutenant Kara Liu reported, her voice steady despite the palpable tension on the bridge. The landing party is assembled and ready for deployment. Dawson nodded, his expression resolute. Very well, let's make history. As he made his way to the shuttle bay, Dawson found Mira waiting for him, her scales shimmering with a blend of excitement and anxiety. Are you certain about this? She asked, falling in a step beside him. Bringing Dr. Mercer along seems risky. Dawson sighed, understanding her concern. His expertise could be invaluable down there. Sometimes, the best way to neutralize a threat is to keep it close. The shuttle bay buzzed with activity as the joint human-Denobulan team conducted final checks on their equipment. Dr. Marcus Mercer stood apart from the others, his face a mask of barely suppressed anticipation. As the team boarded the shuttle, Dawson locked eyes with Mercer. Remember, Doctor, this is your chance at redemption. Don't waste it. Mercer nodded curtly, his lips pressed into a thin line. The descent to New Eden's surface was turbulent, the shuttle bucking against fierce winds and electromagnetic interference. As they broke through the cloud cover, the alien structure came into view, a gleaming spire of unknown metal, its surface etched with intricate patterns that seemed to shift and change as they approached. The shuttle shuddered violently as it broke through the turbulent clouds, revealing the stark landscape of New Eden below. The planet's surface stretched out in an array of deep greens and browns, interspersed with patches of vibrant color that hinted at a unique ecosystem. However, the striking beauty was marred by the looming presence of the artificial structure, a towering spire that jutted into the sky like a dagger piercing the earth. Prepare for landing, Captain Michael Dawson instructed, his voice steady despite the uncertainty swirling within him. The atmosphere in the shuttle was tense, filled with apprehension as the crew readied themselves for whatever awaited them on this alien world. As they descended, Mira leaned closer to Dawson, her bioluminescent patterns flickering with a mix of excitement and anxiety. Do you think the structure is a remnant of the invaders? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. It's possible, Dawson replied, trying to keep his tone reassuring. But we won't know until we investigate. Stay alert, everyone. The shuttle touched down with a jarring thud, and the ramp lowered, revealing the alien terrain. The air was thick with humidity, and the sense of unfamiliar flora flooded the cabin, prompting a mix of curiosity and caution among the crew. Dawson led the team out into the soft, moss-like ground that cushioned their footsteps, his heart pounding in rhythm with the distant thrum of their own trepidation. Stick together and watch your backs, Dawson commanded, scanning the surroundings. Mira, stay close to me. Your expertise will be invaluable. Mira nodded, her scales reflecting the filtered sunlight as she adjusted her equipment. I'll guide you through the vegetation. The flora here has unique properties, and I've identified several plants that could be useful. As they ventured away from the shuttle, Dawson noticed the strange beauty of the flora. Towering trees with twisting trunks bore luminescent leaves, their colors shifting from deep blue to bright green in the gentle breeze. Exotic flowers bloomed in clusters, their petals shimmering like jewels. Yet, beneath this enchanting facade, an undercurrent of danger lingered, making the crew feel exposed and vulnerable. The team approached the towering structure, now visible in all its otherworldly glory. It was crafted from an unknown metal, glinting under the sun with intricate patterns engraved along its surface. It was unlike anything Dawson had seen before, both mesmerizing and intimidating. Look at those symbols, Mira remarked, her fingers tracing the patterns in the air as if she could sense their meaning. They may hold information about the beings who created this structure. If we can decode them, it might provide insights into their technology or even their intentions. Dawson stepped closer, examining the strange engravings. Let's get a closer look. We need to gather data before we proceed. As they approached the base of the structure, a low hum reverberated through the air, sending vibrations through the ground beneath their feet. The sound intensified, resonating with an alien energy that felt almost alive. Suddenly, a deep voice echoed around them, vibrating through the very air they breathed. Intruders, why have you come to our domain? Dawson's heart raced as he instinctively reached for his sidearm. The team formed a protective circle around Mira, their senses heightened. From the shadows of the spire emerged tall, slender figures cloaked in shimmering garments that seemed to blend with their surroundings. Their faces were inscrutable, with elongated features and piercing eyes that glowed with an ethereal light. "We mean no harm," Dawson said, raising his hands in a gesture of peace. "We are explorers from Earth. Our ship encountered your refugees, and we seek to understand your world." The figures regarded them with an intensity that felt both scrutinizing and contemplative. One stepped forward, its movements fluid and graceful. "You carry the essence of your kind, but your intentions remain veiled. The Denobulans have suffered, and yet you offer them asylum. Why?" Mira took a step forward, her voice steady despite the fear in her heart. "We recognize the plight of your people. We have endured our own struggles. I believe we can work together to build a future that benefits both our species." The alien's gaze shifted between Mira and Dawson, as if weighing their words against a deep reservoir of knowledge. "Trust is not easily given, nor is it readily earned. Show us your resolve." Dawson felt a knot tighten in his stomach. "How can we prove ourselves?" he asked, his voice unwavering. "The trials of unity must be faced," the alien replied. "You will venture into the depths of New Eden, where the truth of your intentions will be revealed. Only then will we decide the fate of your alliance." "What sort of trials?" Dawson questioned, concern creeping into his tone. "Tests of courage, wisdom, and empathy. The path is treacherous, but only through adversity can bonds be forged." The alien gestured toward a narrow path that wound into the dense forest beyond the structure. "Follow this trail. It will lead you to the heart of our domain. Complete the trials, and we shall determine your worthiness." With a shared look of determination, Dawson turned to his team. "We'll do it. We'll prove that we are allies, not enemies." He felt Myra's hand on his shoulder, a comforting weight that steadied him. As they set off down the path, the air thickened with the scents of exotic plants, and the sounds of alien wildlife echoed around them. Dawson led the way, his mind racing with thoughts of the trials ahead. What would they face? What dangers lurked within this unknown world? As the team ventured deeper into the forest, the vibrant greenery enveloped them. The light filtered through the dense canopy, casting dappled shadows on the ground. Dawson sensed the weight of the moment. This was not just an exploration, but a test that could determine the future of both species. Suddenly, the path opened into a vast clearing, revealing a shimmering lake at its center. The water glowed softly, illuminated by the bioluminescent flora surrounding it. "What is this place?" Mira whispered, awe evident in her voice. "The heart of New Eden," the alien voice echoed from somewhere in the shadows. "Your first trial awaits?" Dawson felt a rush of adrenaline. "What must we do?" "To prove your worth, you must face your deepest fears and show that you can overcome them." At those words, the lake began to ripple, and images started to form on the surface. Visions of their past, of battles fought, losses endured, and moments of despair. Each team member's worst fears reflected back at them in haunting clarity. Dawson watched as memories of his war-torn past came rushing forward. The faces of comrades lost, the screams of those he couldn't save. He could feel the pain constricting around his heart, the weight of regret threatening to pull him under. "Stay strong," he shouted to his team, though he felt his own resolve wavering. "We can get through this together." Mira stepped forward, her bioluminescence flickering brightly. "Focus on what we've achieved. We survived against the odds. We've built something from nothing." Dawson saw her determination spark hope within him. The images began to shift. Instead of despair, he saw moments of triumph, of alliances formed, and of lives saved. The memories intertwined with Myra's glowing light, and he felt strength surging within him. One by one, the crew members joined in, facing their fears head-on. They recalled the bonds they had forged, the battles they had won together, and the futures they fought for. The lake shimmered brighter as they united their will, pushing back against the darkness that threatened to consume them. With a final surge of collective strength, the lake's surface calmed, and the haunting images faded. In their place, the water glowed with a brilliant light, illuminating the clearing with an otherworldly radiance. "Congratulations," the alien voice declared, echoing through the clearing. "You have passed the first trial. Trust is built on overcoming fear together." Dawson felt a wave of relief wash over him, and a sense of camaraderie surged among the team. They had faced the shadows of their past and emerged stronger. "Now, we must prepare for the next trial," the alien continued, emerging from the shadows. "The path ahead will test your wisdom. Only those who possess the insight to understand one another will succeed." As they gathered their strength, Dawson looked at Mira, who nodded with determination. "We will prove that our alliance is meant to be," she said, her eyes shining bright with resolve. Together, they stepped back onto the path, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, united in purpose and hope for a future that could change the destiny of both their species. As the team ventured deeper into the heart of New Eden, the vibrant forest thickened around them, the bioluminescent flora casting an enchanting glow that illuminated their path. The air was rich with a sense of damp earth and exotic blooms, each breath filling them with a mix of wonder and determination. "Stay close," Captain Michael Dawson instructed, his senses heightened as he scanned their surroundings. The weight of their previous trial lingered, but there was no time to dwell on their fears. They had a new challenge ahead. The path twisted and turned, leading them into a clearing dominated by a massive, ancient tree whose gnarled roots sprawled across the ground like the fingers of a giant. Its trunk was wider than the shuttle, and its branches reached high into the sky, disappearing into the canopy above. Glimmering lights flickered among the leaves, resembling stars trapped in the boughs of this colossal guardian. "This tree, it feels alive," Mira murmured, her bioluminescent patterns pulsating with curiosity. "It probably is," Dawson replied. "We need to approach with respect. Whatever this trial entails, I suspect it has something to do with this tree." As they drew nearer, a voice resonated from the tree itself, deep and resonant. "Seekers of wisdom, you have entered the domain of the Arboreal Council. To prove your worth, you must answer a riddle. Only those who demonstrate true understanding will proceed." The crew exchanged glances, tension palpable in the air. Dawson stepped forward, steeling himself for the challenge. "What is the riddle?" The tree's branches swayed gently, the lights flickering like fireflies. "I am not alive, yet I grow. I do not breathe, but I require air. I do not have a mouth, yet water is my nourishment. What am I?" Dawson's mind raced as he considered the riddle. "It's something that grows but isn't alive, something that needs air and water." He felt the pressure of his crew's expectations bearing down on him, their eyes fixed on him for guidance. Myra's voice broke through his thoughts. "Fire. It fits all the clues." "Fire?" Dawson echoed, the idea taking root. "It consumes, but isn't a living thing. It needs oxygen and can be extinguished by water." The tree paused, its bark rippling as if in contemplation. "You speak of fire, a dual nature of creation and destruction. Is this your final answer?" "Yes," Mira declared, a spark of hope igniting in her eyes. With a deep rumble, the tree responded, "You are wise to recognize the balance of nature. Fire is both a friend and a foe, just as alliances can be fragile yet powerful." "You have answered correctly." A soft glow emanated from the tree, illuminating the area as it parted its branches, revealing a hidden path that wound deeper into the forest. "You may proceed, but remember that wisdom is not only in knowledge, but in understanding the hearts of others." As they stepped onto the newly revealed path, Dawson felt a renewed sense of purpose. "That was close," he said, glancing back at Mira, who looked both relieved and exhilarated. "You were right to push for the answer. I just knew that fire symbolizes our struggles and the strength we can find in adversity," she replied, her scales shimmering with enthusiasm. "We need to carry that understanding forward, The trail continued, leading them through an even denser section of the forest. Strange, melodic sounds filled the air, like a distant choir harmonizing with the rustling leaves. The atmosphere shifted, growing heavier with anticipation as they approached a series of stone monoliths etched with unfamiliar symbols. "This must be where the next trial will take place," Dawson said, feeling a sense of foreboding. The stones were arranged in a circle, and in the center, a shallow pool of water shimmered, reflecting the colors of the surrounding flora. The alien voice echoed again, now echoing from the monoliths. "You have passed the trial of wisdom. Now, you must confront the trial of empathy. Look into the pool and see the truth of your hearts." Dawson hesitated. "What does that mean?" Mira stepped forward cautiously, her bioluminescence illuminating the surface of the pool. "Maybe it shows us something we need to confront," she suggested. As they gazed into the water, images began to form, a swirl of memories, regrets, and emotions intertwined. Dawson saw his past self standing among the ruins of a battlefield, surrounded by the devastation of war. Faces of comrades lost flashed before him, their expressions filled with pain and sorrow. "Mira, look," he shouted, pointing at the pool. "These are the consequences of our choices. We must confront them." Myra's gaze shifted to her own reflection, the images revealing the struggles of her people, the fear and anguish of her fellow Denobulans as their world fell into chaos. She could see herself standing helplessly as destruction unfolded around her. "It's too much," she whispered, tears forming in her bright blue eyes. Dawson reached for her, feeling the weight of her pain as if it were his own. "You're not alone, Mira. We're in this together," he said, his voice steady but filled with empathy. "We have to remember that we are fighting for something greater. Hope, survival, and a future for our peoples." The pool shimmered with the power of their emotions, and the images shifted again. This time, they saw the moments of strength and resilience. Dawson standing with his crew, fighting for their lives and their mission. Mira leading her people in defiance, embodying the spirit of hope against insurmountable odds. "Together, we can change the narrative," Dawson said, his voice filled with conviction. "We must honor those we've lost by forging a better future." The reflections grew brighter, swirling together until they formed a brilliant light that filled the clearing. The alien voice returned, softer now. "You have shown true understanding of empathy and unity. The bonds you forge in the face of adversity will strengthen your alliance." As the light faded, the pool settled into stillness, the images disappearing into its depths. "You may proceed," the voice continued, "but know that the journey ahead will require continual compassion and understanding, not just between your peoples, but also within yourselves." Dawson took a deep breath, feeling a profound sense of relief wash over him. "We're getting closer," he said, turning to his team. "Let's keep moving." As they continued along the path, Dawson could feel the connection growing between them, a bond forged in shared trials and understanding. They were no longer just a crew or a collection of individuals. They were allies united by purpose. "Mira," he said, glancing at her, "I'm grateful for your insight and strength. You've opened my eyes to what we're truly fighting for." She smiled, her scales glowing brightly in response. "And I'm grateful for your leadership. Together, we can build something amazing." The forest began to thin, and ahead, they could see the faint outline of the next challenge awaiting them. A shimmering archway constructed of intertwining vines and flowers beckoned them forward, radiating a sense of calm amidst the chaos of their journey. "This is it," Dawson said, steeling himself for whatever lay beyond the archway. "Whatever comes next, we face it together." As they stepped through the arch, the world shifted around them, and they found themselves in a lush valley filled with vibrant colors and life. The air was thick with the hum of insects and the calls of alien creatures. In the center stood a stone pedestal, adorned with the same symbols they had seen before, a stark contrast against the brilliant landscape. "The final trial," Dawson breathed, glancing at his team. "What do you think it will be?" "We must be ready for anything," Mira replied, her expression a mix of determination and apprehension. Whatever challenges we face here, they will shape our future. Dawson nodded, his resolve strengthening. Let's show them what we're made of. Together, they approached the pedestal, ready to embrace the final trial that would determine their fate and the destiny of both their species. The air crackled with energy, and the weight of their journey pressed heavily upon them, but they would not falter. They had come too far to turn back now. As they reached the pedestal, the symbols glowed in response to their presence, and the final challenge began to unfold before them. Whatever awaited them next, they would face it united, prepared to forge a future that transcended their fears and united their hearts. The air shimmered around them as they gathered in front of the stone pedestal, the vibrant colors of the valley swirling with an energy that pulsed through the ground. Dawson could feel his heart racing, the anticipation building as they stood on the brink of their final trial. The air was thick with tension, as if the valley itself was holding its breath, waiting to see what would unfold. As they approached the pedestal, the symbols etched into the stone began to glow brighter, casting an ethereal light that illuminated their faces. In the center of the pedestal lay a shimmering orb, its surface swirling with colors that shifted like the northern lights, captivating and mesmerizing. Place your hands upon the orb, the voice echoed once more, resonating from the pedestal itself. Only by demonstrating true courage will you unlock the power of this trial. Dawson exchanged glances with Mira and the rest of the crew, the weight of their shared journey evident in their eyes. They had faced adversity and shown empathy. Now, they had to confront their fears. With a steadying breath, Dawson stepped forward, placing his hand on the orb. The moment his skin made contact, a jolt of energy surged through him, igniting a fire in his veins. Mira followed suit, her delicate fingers wrapping around the orb's surface, her bioluminescent patterns shimmering in response to its energy. One by one, the rest of the team joined them, their hands connecting around the orb, creating a circle of unity. "Close your eyes," the voice instructed, and as they obeyed, darkness enveloped them, followed by the sudden rush of sensations. Heat, cold, fear, and exhilaration. Images flashed before them, vivid and chaotic. Dawson felt himself standing on the battlefield once more, but this time it was different. He was not just an observer. He was reliving moments of fear, bravery, and sacrifice. He saw his crew, each one facing their greatest fears. Mira stood at the edge of a crumbling cliff, the ground beneath her trembling as she faced the abyss below. "I can't do this," she shouted, her voice trembling with uncertainty. "What if I fall?" But Dawson felt a pull of courage within him. "Mira, trust in yourself. You've faced worse than this. You can overcome it." His voice echoed through the vision, resonating with strength. The scene shifted, and he found himself in the midst of a storm, surrounded by swirling winds and blinding rain. The crew struggled against the elements, fighting to keep their vessel steady. He watched as Marcus, the ship's security officer, held the control panel steady, his face a mask of determination despite the chaos. "Hold on," Marcus shouted, his voice unwavering. "We can make it through this." With each moment that passed, Dawson felt the intensity of their trials deepen, the weight of their fears pressing down upon him. But with each challenge, a sense of courage surged within him, a recognition that they were not alone in their struggles. Suddenly, the vision shifted again. They stood in a darkened chamber, a creature looming before them, an alien monstrosity with glowing eyes and razor-sharp teeth. Dawson felt a surge of terror, but alongside it came a wave of resolve. "We face this together," he shouted, his heart pounding. "We will not let fear divide us." In that moment, the orb's energy exploded around them, enveloping the dark creature in a blinding light. It let out a howl, retreating into the shadows, defeated by their combined courage. As the visions began to fade, the orb pulsed with energy, and Dawson felt the warmth of his friend's presence surrounding him. "We've faced our fears," Mira whispered, her voice steady now. Together, with a final surge, the orb released a wave of light that filled the valley, cascading over them like a waterfall of stars. The warmth enveloped them, filling them with strength and unity. As the light receded, they found themselves back in the clearing, the pedestal glowing softly beneath their hands. The voice echoed once more, now filled with warmth and approval. You have proven your courage, not only in facing your fears but in supporting one another. Together, you will shape the future of both your peoples. Dawson pulled his hand back, looking around at his team, their faces illuminated by the glow of the pedestal. We did it, he said, awe filling his voice. We faced our fears, and we came out stronger. Mira smiled, her scales shimmering with pride. We've learned to trust in each other. That's what true courage is. As they stepped away from the pedestal, the stone began to hum, and a pathway opened up before them, leading to a breathtaking vista. The valley opened into a sprawling landscape, where mountains touched the sky and rivers flowed like veins through the earth. We need to head there, Dawson said, pointing to the horizon where the sun dipped low, casting a golden hue across the land. That must be where we establish our new home. As they moved forward, the atmosphere shifted, infused with a sense of hope and purpose. Each step felt lighter, fueled by the trials they had overcome. They were no longer just a human crew and Denobulan refugees. They were allies, united by shared experiences and an understanding that transcended their differences. The journey ahead was still uncertain, but as they approached the edge of the valley, a sense of clarity washed over Dawson. They had faced their fears, shown empathy, and now they were ready to forge a future together. This is it, he declared, feeling the weight of responsibility on his shoulders, yet buoyed by the strength of his companions. Let's create a place where our people can thrive together. As they stepped into the expanse of New Eden, a world filled with untold possibilities, Dawson felt an overwhelming sense of determination. Whatever challenges awaited them, they would face them together, as a united front. The legacy of their struggle would be one of resilience, compassion, and courage, paving the way for a new beginning on this alien world. And as they ventured forth, the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow over their path, a promise of hope, adventure, and a brighter future. As they descended into the vibrant expanse of New Eden, a cacophony of colors greeted them, a lush tapestry of emerald forests, azure lakes, and mountains that pierced the sky. The air was rich with the scent of blooming flora, and the sounds of strange, melodic creatures filled the atmosphere. Dawson took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the journey ahead. Welcome to our new home, Mira said, her eyes shining with excitement. She took a moment to absorb the beauty around them, her bioluminescent patterns flickering in response to the lively environment. The group ventured forward, the promise of adventure invigorating their spirits. As they moved deeper into the valley, Dawson felt an overwhelming sense of unity amongst his team. Each member was invigorated, their fears from the trial fading as they embraced the reality of their new surroundings. Mira, can you use your bioluminescence to help us navigate? Dawson asked, glancing back at her. I'd love to see the flora and fauna react to your light. Absolutely, she replied enthusiastically, stepping forward. She raised her hands, and intricate patterns of light danced across her scales. The ground around her glowed faintly, revealing hidden trails and vibrant patches of vegetation that seemed to pulse in rhythm with her energy. Look at that, Marcus exclaimed, pointing to a cluster of strange flowers that bloomed in hues of violet and gold, their petals opening and closing in harmony with Myra's light. It's like they're responding to you. The crew laughed, the sound of their shared wonder echoing through the valley. Each step unveiled new wonders, a sparkling stream lined with crystals, towering trees with bark that shimmered like polished silver, and small creatures darting between the underbrush, their bright colors flashing as they scurried. But as they wandered, Dawson couldn't shake the feeling of responsibility weighing heavily on his shoulders. Their journey was far from over. The choices they made here would shape not only their own future, but also the delicate balance between humans and Denobulans. We need to establish a base camp, Dawson said, glancing back at the group. A place where we can gather resources, communicate with the horizon, and plan our next steps. Marcus nodded in agreement, scanning the horizon. There's a natural clearing up ahead. It looks like it could serve as a good spot. As they approached the clearing, Dawson's gaze fell upon a majestic waterfall cascading down the rocks, creating a shimmering pool at its base. The sound of rushing water filled the air, invigorating their spirits further. "This place is perfect," he declared. "We can set up our main base here." The team quickly set to work. They unloaded supplies from their packs and gathered materials from the surrounding area. With Myra's guidance, they crafted makeshift shelters from the resilient foliage and materials they found nearby. The atmosphere buzzed with camaraderie as they worked together, laughter mingling with the sounds of nature. As the sun began to dip below the horizon, casting a golden glow over their makeshift camp, Dawson gathered everyone around a fire they had built. The warmth of the flames flickered against the cool evening air, creating an inviting space for discussion. "All right, everyone," he began, looking at each member of the crew. "We've made it this far, but our real challenge lies ahead. We must learn to coexist, not just with each other, but also with this new world." Mira nodded, her voice steady as she addressed the group. "It's crucial we understand the ecosystem here. If we're going to thrive, we need to respect and protect it. Our survival depends on it. What about the Denobulan technology we brought?" Marcus chimed in. "We need to find a way to integrate it into our new lives here. It could give us an edge in establishing ourselves." "That's a great idea," Dawson replied, a spark of inspiration igniting within him. "If we can merge our knowledge with their technology, we might be able to terraform sections of this planet to suit our needs. We have the opportunity to create something incredible." The group murmured in agreement, their minds racing with possibilities. As they shared ideas and plans, the stars began to twinkle above, forming a breathtaking canopy that seemed to embrace their new beginning. The evening unfolded with stories of their pasts, tales of struggles and triumphs, laughter and tears. Dawson listened intently, feeling a growing sense of connection with each of his companions. They were more than just allies now. They were family, bound by their shared experiences. As the night deepened, Dawson took a moment to step away from the group. He found a quiet spot near the waterfall, the sound of the water soothing his racing thoughts. He gazed into the moonlit pool, watching as the light danced on the surface, creating a mirror of shimmering possibilities. "What do we do now?" he murmured to himself. The uncertainty of their future loomed large, but he felt a flicker of hope igniting within him. They had faced challenges before, and they had emerged stronger. The soft rustle of leaves brought him back to reality. Mira approached, her expression thoughtful. "You seem lost in thought," she said gently, her bioluminescence casting a soft glow around them. "What's on your mind?" "I'm just contemplating what lies ahead," Dawson admitted, turning to face her. "This place is beautiful, but it's also unpredictable. We need to be prepared for anything." Mira nodded, her eyes filled with understanding. "It's natural to feel that way. But remember, we're not alone. We have each other. Together, we can navigate whatever challenges come our way." Her words resonated within him, reaffirming the bond they had forged. "You're right," Dawson said, a smile breaking through his earlier concerns. "As long as we stand together, we can face anything." With a shared understanding, they turned back to join the others around the fire, ready to embrace the challenges of their new world. As they settled in for the night, a sense of determination filled the air, a collective resolve to make New Eden a place of harmony and growth. And as the stars twinkled above, whispering promises of the adventures yet to come, Dawson felt a renewed sense of purpose. They were on the brink of something extraordinary, and together, they would create a legacy that would transcend their fears and forge a brighter future for both their species.